The residents of Flint, Michigan have been dealing with a lead contamination crisis in their water supply now for more than 2 years. And amid this crisis, they're still going to work, they're still paying their taxes, and part of those tax dollars is going to fund the salaries of people within Congress. So you would expect them to get at least a small bit of representation, right? Not at all. So Common Dreams explains, U.S. House leaders on Tuesday night struck a deal to allow a vote on an amendment adding $170 million in infrastructure spending under the Water Resources Development Act to help Flint and other cities with water emergencies. The agreement followed days of tense talks and came after Senate Democrats earlier on Tuesday blocked a vote to advance a stopgap spending bill to keep the government running after Friday, citing the GOP's refusal to include funding for Flint. The legislation does include emergency flood assistance for Louisiana, West Virginia, and Maryland. So there's a lot going on, so let me just recap. So Republicans tried to pass a stopgap spending bill in order to prevent the government from shutting down, but that bill didn't include this $170 million in funding to go to Flint to help them fight this lead contamination crisis. So the Democrats said, no, if you don't include funding, then the government is going to shut down because we're not going to pass it. So they had to come to some type of agreement and a compromise, right? So this was the shitty compromise that they reached. Republicans said, okay, how about this? In 2 months after the election is over and we don't have to worry about our electoral prospects, we'll just allow a vote on it. We're not going to guarantee that, these residents who are drinking poison water, 100,000 people, are going to get any relief. We're not going to guarantee it, but we'll at least allow you to vote on it. And rather than continuing the fight against an immoral Republican Party, Democrats said, cool, this is a victory, awesome. So, the correct response is to be outraged because the residents of Flint, Michigan have to wait even longer because even if they do vote to send them this $170 million, it's not guaranteed that this vote will even pass, but even if they do vote, it's not going to immediately make the water potable like that. It's still going to take time. It's not just when they vote, relief will come immediately. It's still going to take time for them to go through and change the pipes and whatnot. So they're not looking at relief for a long time, if any. So it's just ridiculous. And think about how incompetent our Congress is. Whenever any sort of compromise is reached, it's touted as a victory. And this is no different. So let me show you some of the headlines. Washington Post reads, Congress acts to avert government shutdown after striking deal on Flint aid. Kind of a lack of a deal. And in that article, Nancy Pelosi was literally quoted saying, we have sent a message of hope to the people of Flint. While we prefer to deliver those funds to the children in this spending bill, we're at least on a path to meaningful action. Oh, I'm sure they're so hopeful knowing that in several months down the line, maybe you guys will choose to vote to fund relief for them. How hopeful. Another headline, CNN says, Congress passes bill to avoid government shutdown. Doesn't even mention Flint in the headline. Real Clear Politics states, Flint funding deal may avert shutdown. New York Times, Congress approves spending bill averting government shutdown. So everybody cares about the government shutdown. Nobody cares about Flint. Now, am I saying that I want there to be a government shutdown? Absolutely not. I think there should never be a government shutdown. But if there's any time when I think Democrats should continue to fight, and even if it means it's going to lead to a government shutdown, now is the time to do it because potable drinking water is a human right. The residents of Flint shouldn't have to wait until November to see whether or not Congress will pull your heads out of your own asses and fund relief for them, which should be a no-brainer, which should have been done months ago. Ridiculous. Now, here's the accurate headline from Common Dreams. Both parties in Congress agree Flint can wait a few more months for clean water. That's the real story here. That's the story. And look, it doesn't even have to lead to a government shutdown because just like last time, a government shutdown would inevitably harm Republicans more than Democrats. So, Democrats, you're on the right side of history. You can take this fight to the public and say, hey, do you see what they're doing? They don't want to fund aid to Flint, Michigan. They have non-potable drinking water. There's lead in their water, and Republicans are saying they don't want to do jack shit about it. They're going to cause the government to shut down because they're not being reasonable. You can make this case, and the American people would be with you because you're unreasonable if you don't think American citizens should have access to clean drinking water, yet Democrats chose to run away. I guess you get 1 or 2 claps since you kind of fought. You didn't, vote on the stopgap bill right away, but is this really a good compromise to where you delay aid to Flint? Because any delays is a victory for Republicans. So you just keep allowing them to bully you and push you around and you don't do shit. And then you complain when we don't want to vote for you, when we want to vote for Green Party members. Unbelievable. It's just crazy to me. Now, again, let me just reiterate what's at stake here. Clean drinking water for American citizens. Water, let me remind you, is something that you need to live to survive. You can't wait until after the election to decide whether or not 100,000 people should have clean drinking water. How many more years are they going to have to wait? So, I mean, if you can't even provide people with basic resources, why are you in Congress? Who are you representing? You're not representing the American people. And think about how terrible the Republican Party is. Why is anyone voting Republican? They don't want to send aid to Flint, Michigan. Okay, well then how about this? Until that aid is sent to them, how about they only should be allowed to drink the water from Flint? I mean, it looks pretty gnarly, doesn't it? They wouldn't want to drink this water. I know that if it was their water that was impacted, they would definitely send funding right away to fix it. But since it's these residents in Flint, Michigan, they don't give a shit. It's not DC. It's not them that's being affected by this, so they don't care. And I mean, the Democrats, they'll pay lip service. They'll be on the right side of the issue technically, but are they really willing to fight as if the residents of Flint, as if their lives depended on it? No, they're not. They showed that right now. No negotiations. You don't negotiate with them. You say, no, we vote on it right now, or we shut down and we blame you. That's what you do, but they don't want to do it. Democrats are spineless. They're cowards. They don't want to fight. This is a winning strategy. You have an election, and you're allowing Republicans to postpone it until after the election. Which constituents, let me know, what congressman or woman's constituents is going to blame someone for voting to fund relief for Flint? It's mind-boggling to me, and nobody can get this story right besides Common Dreams. The real story here is that Congress is delaying aid to Flint. There's no victory. I don't give a shit if the government is shut down or not. I just want them to have clean drinking water. Because at the end of the day, regardless if the government is active or shut down, these people are still not able to drink water that's clean, that's potable, that's not contaminated with lead, and that's immoral.